miss this. I miss this so much. It's been a while since I just sat in front of a camera and talked, but I figured since like the lighting is really nice today, and yeah, this is a story that I've wanted to share for a while now, and it's basically about my dad's near-death experience. And the reason why I want to share it is because it is a big part of my personal, like, I guess you can say origin story. It'll help you guys get to know me a bit better, and it's a big part of why my family is in the situation that they're in now. So to give you guys some context, my parents owned a Chinese restaurant in, I want to say, one of the most ghetto area of Philadelphia. It's Kensington. It had a ton of drug problems. Poverty was everywhere. So we actually lived on the second floor of the restaurant. Like, the first floor is the actual restaurant, and then the second floor is where we go upstairs and sleep and live our life. So that was the condition that we lived in for about 10 years. I go to school, come back home, and because of how ghetto the neighborhood was, there were plenty of times where I came home and I saw my dad in the dining room table eating, but his face was so swollen from getting beat up, from being robbed during one of his deliveries, that I barely recognized him. It was like really shocking to see that as a kid, and he would kind of just tell a joke to play it off, but that really stood out to me and made an impression on me. It was so shocking and so jarring though that I kind of just froze. Like, I didn't react at all because I didn't know how to react, and I just went along with my day because I didn't know how to process what was happening. So all that is to say is that my dad had a really rough time in that restaurant, and my mom too, but everything kind of just chugged along in that environment for a while until I think it was a school night. I was woken up from my sleep by the chef of the restaurant. It was around midnight, and he basically was banging on my door, and I opened the door. He was like, "You gotta come downstairs right now. Something happened to your dad." He brought me downstairs, and then he led me to the front of the restaurant. There was ambulances, paramedics, and I saw my mom, and she was being held back by a paramedic because she was hysterical. Like, she was screaming, she was crying, and I'm still trying to make sense of what the fuck is going on until I finally saw my dad laying on the floor, and he had a little bit of blood coming out the side of his mouth, and he was just laying there on the floor, and knew, oh shit, he got really hurt. I don't know how he got hurt. That comes a bit later in the story, but he was, I don't want to say unconscious, but he wasn't here, if that makes sense. He was groaning, and you can tell from his perspective, he's going through something. His mind isn't here in the physical plane of whatever is happening. So I saw him in that state, and again, I was so shocked, and it was so jarring that I didn't feel anything. It was like I was stunned into being calm. Like, I was so calm. It was odd how calm I was. My mom is over here losing her shit. My dad is on the floor with a little bit of blood coming out of his mouth, and like paramedics surrounding him, and people are making a big commotion. And yet I was just completely calm, kind of witnessing everything. And the paramedics said, we're gonna get him on the stretcher and bring him to the hospital to see the extent of his injuries. When they're about to lift him onto the stretcher, that's when my dad went from like just groaning and making noises to very firmly and aggressively going, "No!" And I've never seen that side of my dad before. For him to yell out "no" with that intensity, I knew something was up. Like, I don't know if like when they were moving him, they heard something, but something was up. So I told the paramedics, like, "Yo, I think he might be injured when you're moving him, so try to be careful." And they're like, "Okay." And they brought him to the hospital, and that's when we found the extent of his injury. He fractured his skull. He had a concussion. He broke his ribs. His ribs actually ended up puncturing his lungs. He fractured his hip. He bruised his kidney. During his healing process, he was basically pissing out blood. And that night, his life hung in the balance. Like, we didn't know if he was gonna make it or not. And relatives, came in to visit him and everything. And again, like, throughout it all, I was oddly calm. I don't know, I can't explain it. It was just really, really calm, perceiving everything happening, watching everything unfold. Thankfully, we found out that, he was going to pull through. He was going to be all right. Once he was well enough to tell us from his perspective what happened, he shared his near-death experience. He said that he was going to his car to make a delivery, but before he got into the car, someone in a car hit him. We later found out that that guy wasn't even the original owner of the car that he was driving. They found substances in his system, and he ended up stealing a car, basically, which kind of fucked things up insurance-wise, because we can't sue the guy because he didn't have insurance and that wasn't his car. So we didn't really get much financially out of that situation, but that's besides the point. So he hit my dad, going full speed, drugged out of his mind. An eyewitness said my dad flew a few feet, hit the concrete, and sustained a shit ton of injuries. From my dad's perspective, he said from the moment he got hit, he didn't feel any pain, like zero pain. Everything kind of just slowed down and he felt zero pain. And then he found himself drifting into a different place, away from this physical realm. And as he got closer and closer to that place, fear, worry, anxiety, everything related to his human life started to dissipate. And when he was finally there, he was basically confronted with like the classic light at the end of the tunnel. He legit saw a tunnel and there was light at the end of it. And I want to say this, which is that my dad isn't very like spiritual. He categorized himself as atheist before that incident. So for him to see all of this stuff was very surprising to him. And to be honest, for me too, like I just thought light at the end of the tunnel was something you hear about in movies or like from other people's testimonials. But I never thought that my dad himself would actually see it. Like someone I know would see something like that and go through that experience. He saw that. And then there were two monks that were in front of the tunnel and explained the situation to my dad. They pointed to the light and was like, this is where you go when you die. This is where everybody goes when they die. This is the next stage, the next step. We can guide you there. Do you want to go? And my dad said that he really wanted to go. He said it felt so peaceful, and all the problems that he had that is associated with his human experience is completely gone. So he really, really wanted to go. But after thinking about it, he ultimately said no. Like firmly said no. In like the physical realm, that's when he screamed and like firmly said no when the paramedics was moving him. So it wasn't because he was like the paramedics were injuring him further. It was just in that other realm, he was answering the monks. And it came across like so assertive and so strong that it came through him saying it physically. He said that the monk looked at him as if they knew that he was gonna say that, and they smiled and they asked him, why not? And that's when my dad pointed back at me and my mom back in the physical realm and was like, I don't want to leave them alone to go through life. And that really got to me. Like I said, my dad is a really quiet and reserved guy. So for him to willingly come back to this realm where there's so much suffering and so much difficulty, just so that me and my mom can have an easier time navigating through life, so that we didn't have to go through it with just me and my mom, so that I had a dad, it really touched me. And because of everything that happened, it ended up bringing us closer together. Like I wanted to take care of my dad. So I was there for him while he was recovering. Like he was recovering for a while, but it was one of my favorite memories, being there for him, because I introduced him to like Rayman Legends. Like we were playing video games together and we had a really good time. I never really had that childhood with my dad where we played games together because he was so busy working. So this was one of the few times where it felt like I got to be a kid with my dad, and it really brought us closer together. And it did something, this whole incident did something for my mom. Prior to this incident, Like my mom, she was also working at the restaurant, like working really hard. She's a hardworking lady, like a really respect and love the hell out of my mom. My dad too, of course. And my mom, like back in China, before she immigrated to America, she got a nursing degree. But when you come to America, it's not like your degree transfers over, right? You can't just start practicing nursing in America with a Chinese degree. So she never really got the chance to practice nursing here. But there was a program. Like there was a program for people in the exact same position as my mom, where they had a degree from China. And if you go through this program and pass the final exam, you can now practice nursing in the state that you passed the final exam. In order to go through that, my mom would have to study a ton of like medical textbooks again, and all of this is in English. Her English isn't the best, or it wasn't the best at the time. It's much better now, but it wasn't the best at the time. And she didn't really have a lot of self-confidence. She didn't believe in herself. She didn't believe she can do it. So she was just like, this is too hard. I can't do it. I'm just gonna keep working at the restaurant and this will be our way to make money, right? She had that mentality for literally years. But after what happened to my dad, it was like a mentality shift. It was like a catalyst that started my mom on this whole journey of overcoming what she thought she could never overcome. She went from believing she can't do it to, I must do it. You know, there's no other way. We cannot keep working in this environment that almost got my husband killed. And if we continue working like this, something's gotta give, you know. There's no telling what's gonna happen in the future. There's no telling something like this won't happen again, and maybe next time we won't get so lucky and we might actually lose my dad. So it went from the mentality of, shit, I can't do it, to I gotta do it. So she was working in the Chinese restaurant while studying for the exam. And after about, I want to say a year, no more than 2 years for sure, but I think it was a year. After about a year studying and prepping for the exam, she passed. And she said she was the only person in her class that passed. And it was like a big moment for our family. It was amazing to see that my mom did it, you know? And because of that, she created another option for our family. She forged a brand new path for our family. She was able to give us an alternative life. So she started making money as a nurse, enough money that we can move out of the restaurant, sell the restaurant, and my dad never had to work in that environment ever again. So now they're in a much better environment, and that's why I'm here now and not in some dingy ass Chinese restaurant, because my mom worked so hard to bring us out of poverty, to bring us out of the ghetto. And I owe so much of who I am and what I am to my mom and my dad. As much as I want to share this story to give you guys a better idea of my family's background, there's a lesson in there that I really want to highlight, which is the power of belief and the power of mentality, right? So my mom, she believed she couldn't do it. Her mentality was, this is too hard, I can't do it. Her belief was, this is too hard, I can't do it. And this is the analogy I like to use because I come from a computer science background. The human being is kind of like the hardware, like the computer, right? And then your beliefs and your mentality are like your software. And if you download specific software into your system, if you download specific beliefs into your system, then you'll start operating with that belief, right? So there's this belief of, I can't do it, I can't. And if you download that into your system, you'll start operating as if you can't do it. Because you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're 100% right. You can't do it. So the point is, you hold the ultimate power, right? It depends on what you choose to believe now. If you believe you can do it, then you'll be able to do it. My mom, the only thing that really changed was her belief system, her mentality, going from, I can't do it, this is too hard for me, to, I must do it. And therefore, I can do it. And she did it. Like, she literally, from this switch of mentality, she was able to bring us out of the ghetto. Like, how fucking crazy is that? That is amazing. So this really goes to show just how much of a role your mentality and your beliefs play in this game we call life. So it just depends on what do you want to believe in. Do you believe that you are just tiny little me? I can't do shit. I'm just one person. What can I do? Do you really want to go down that mentality and let that color your perception of life? Or do you want to recognize who you truly are? Do you want to recognize the power that you have within you? Like, I'm fucking great. I can do this shit, right? It's not egotistical. It's not arrogance. I'm not saying I'm fucking great and I'm better than you. No, I'm saying I'm fucking great, but you're also fucking great. I'm saying everybody's fucking great, you know? That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a difference between arrogance and confidence and believing in yourself. I believe in myself, and I want you to believe in yourself. In whatever you do, believe in yourself. You may fail, but it's all right. That's part of the lesson. You just keep going. You do the best you can, and you keep going. So shifting attention to you as a viewer, like, I don't know if you believe in yourself or not, but I want you to, because if you don't believe in yourself, then that's a really tough life to go through. You're just going to be second guessing every single thing that you do, and you're going to be fighting yourself every step of the way, whether it be getting that raise, whether it be starting a business, whether it be learning a new hobby, singing, dancing, anything. If you don't believe you can do it, then you're absolutely right. You can't fucking do it. So stop believing in that. Believe that you can do it. Give yourself the confidence that I can do it, and learn. So that's why I wanted to share this story, because it taught me a great deal about beliefs and mentality. Honestly, I feel like I could talk about this topic forever, but I want to respect you guys' time and attention span. It's probably already quite a long video, so I'm just going to leave it at that. To summarize everything, my dad basically went through a near-death experience that ended up bringing the family together and ended up being the catalyst that pushed my mom to shift her mentality from I can't to I can, and she did it. And again, shifting the attention back to you, I want to reiterate just how much power we all have, and it starts with your beliefs. If you don't believe you can do something, you're right, you can't do it. But if you believe you can do something, you're also right, you can absolutely do it. So be careful what you believe, and choose the beliefs that actually serve you. This has been really fun, just talking in front of a camera. I hope you guys found this useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace. There'd be times where my dad got robbed. What's up, Leo? What? I'm recording a video. What do you want? I just fed you, bro. Get your bitch ass over here. Get over here. Here. Oh, say hi to the camera. Say hi to the camera. You're embarrassing me. Good boy. Good boy. Ooh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You're so cute. Isn't he just the cutest cat? Oh. All right. And then they accidentally do it. Oh my God. You're drinking my water, man. Ugh. Damn it. I can't have you in here, Leo. I can't work like this. I can't work like this.